Hi tribe, so it's end month and I'm receiving your DMs where you're sharing your updates about the 1 million emergency fund challenge. So let's talk about that. How are you doing? We're in April, right? So today is the last day of April. And so it's been 4 months since we started the challenge in January. And as a reminder, the 1 million emergency fund challenge is a challenge where we aim to have 1 million shillings saved in either the CIC or Sanlam money market fund to go towards our 1 million emergency fund. And so every month we contribute 83,333 shillings in those MMFs. And so by the end of April, you should have 333,332 shillings. So please tell me, how are you faring? Yes, how are you faring so far? And because I know there's somebody who's going to be in my DM talking about how 83,333 shillings is not affordable for everyone. Yes, we already set the pace at the beginning of the year. We already said in January that yes, it's not everyone who can afford to put aside 83,333 shillings to join this challenge. And we said that join with whichever amount you have. So for example, to set up a Sanlam money market fund account, you need to join with 2,500 shillings. To set up a CIC money market fund account, you need a minimum of 5,000 shillings. After you have set up your account with those minimums, you can deposit any amount from as little as 1,000 shillings. From 1,000 shillings going up. So it can be 10K, it can be 5K, it can be 20K, whatever amount that you can afford, it's okay. Join the challenge. I always say that it is better to end the year with 200K in your emergency fund than to end with zero. In January 2026, you'll be proud that you are not starting from scratch. Now, the purpose of today's Insta stories is for me to address that email that I've shared in my previous story, which is an email I received from our subscriber. So she says, "Hello, Agatha. I have a problem with savings. I am not disciplined enough to save out of my salary. I am broke before the next month paycheck. It is a danger situation for me since I have kids. Please advise on how to proceed." Let's start with, I received this email DM a lot, this sentiment. A lot of you are struggling with savings, right? Or a lot of us rather struggle with savings. And so let's talk about this, where you make an income, but at the end of the month, you have nothing to show for it. At the end of the month, you're broke. In fact, by the 10th or by the 15th, you're wondering, where did my money go? And I'm here to provide a few solutions based on my experience as a personal finance coach, because that is what I do on a day-to-day basis. So the first thing that I experience when people share this sentiment, especially my one-on-one coaching clients, most people, when they say, I earn an income, but at the end of the month, I do not have any savings, they say it with a lot of guilt, with a lot of shame, with a lot of feeling that they have failed at this adulting thing when it comes to our finances or when it comes to their finances. And I always remind people, it's not really that you're bad with money. And I am a believer in that it's not really that you are bad with money, because I believe that all of us want what is best for us, right? You actually want to end up rich. You actually want to end up with savings set aside. So you want the best for yourself and you're really, really trying. The problem, what I'm saying here, the problem is not that you're bad with money. The problem is that you have no accountability system. Literally, you have no one who asks you at the end of the month, where did your income go? Ulipeleka pesa wapi? So because you have no one who asks you, where did your money go, or where did that 300K that you earned last month go, you get into this system where you get your money, you spend the money, and the next month comes and you repeat the same thing and you repeat the same thing. And years later, you come to realize that, oops, it's been 5 years of this cycle. Oops, it's been 6 years of this cycle. And so that's how you end up realizing years later that you actually have nothing to show for it. Yet, you've always had an income. Or even if it's not always, most of the time, you had an income. So that is the issue that you have, is that you have no accountability system. And I know this for sure because I have coached many, many people, and most of them were in this situation. And because their coach, I am their accountability system, I have seen people move from not having any savings to having like even 30 million as part of their balanced investment portfolio. And so that is my ask for you this end month. Find an accountability partner. You may not necessarily be able to hire me as your personal finance coach because I do charge for my services, but get yourself an accountability partner. It may be your partner, it may be your best friend, but whoever you choose, let it be somebody who is actually capable of keeping you accountable. Let it be someone that you know for sure that if they ask you, have you done what you said you're going to do? You're actually a little scared, actually give that response. So accountability, so it can be your a personal finance coach or your friend or anyone that you decide. Now, the other solution that I can provide to keep you accountable if I'm not your personal finance coach is this 1 million emergency fund challenge. Like I said, I will keep you accountable with getting there. So how will I help you achieve your savings goals this year? So the way the 1 million emergency fund challenge works is, number one, I help you set up a money market fund account for free with either CIC or Sanlam. So you share your email and I will send you the instructions on how to set up either of those money market fund accounts. And then number two, you get to decide how much money do you want to contribute towards this challenge. As I said, people who want to get to 1 million shillings at the end of the year, they are contributing 83,333 shillings. And as I said, it's okay for you to contribute 1,000 shillings and above. The goal is do as much as you can with what you have so that by the end of the year, you're proud of what you'll have achieved in terms of your savings. Because that is the problem you're trying to solve here, where you are receiving an income, you're receiving a paycheck at the end of the month, but then you're living paycheck to paycheck and you do not have savings. And so you end up feeling guilty, you end up feeling bad. Lastly, the third thing is I will keep you accountable. Every 2 weeks, I will send you an email where I will ask you, how are you faring? How are you doing? Do you need any kind of support? How much money have you deposited into your money market fund account? So I will be your accountability partner in this challenge to make sure that you get there. Whichever goal you've set, whether it's 400K, 200K, 500K, it doesn't matter. I will be sending you an email every 2 weeks to ask you how you're faring. So the second week of the month, I will ask you how you're faring. Are you budgeting for this challenge? And at the end of the month, like today I will send an email to everyone who has joined this challenge so far to ask them, please brag, please tell me how you're faring. So knowing that there's somebody who is going to be in your inbox every 2 weeks to ask you how you're doing and to ask you to share your progress is one of the biggest things. That is accountability. That is what you need in order for you to get there. So that is how I can help. And why is this important? Accountability system is important because, and now I'm talking about the second solution, belonging to a community. It's very important for you to belong to a community of people who are going where you want to go. And that is why we're usually told, if you hang out among 4 millionaires, you'll be the fifth one. And so if you hang out among people who are not financially disciplined, among people who are not working towards building their savings, then you're likely to end up like that. But if you belong to the Wealth Tribe, which is a community of young people who openly talk about money and help each other build wealth, which is why I am your accountability partner, then it means at the end of the year, you're going to get there. Last year, I helped over 2,000 people get there, right? And so it's like, join a community of people who are going where you want to go. That is the only way to achieve most of your life goals. If you are planning to improve your career, improve your finances, find a community of people who are going where exactly you want to go. So the importance of community is, we're going to keep you accountable. We're going to cheer you on and we're going to challenge you. So for example, if you decide that you only want to set aside 200K by the end of this year, you're going to see other people doing much, much more, right? And they have the same income, because we share stories on this platform. Maybe they have the same income and you're going to ask yourself, why am I not pushing a little harder? Why am I not pushing it to 250K? Why am I not pushing myself to 300K? So that is the importance of belonging to a community. You'll be challenged, you'll be encouraged, somebody will cheer for you, somebody will clap for you, somebody will, decide that I'm going to help the same way I'm trying to help you by keeping you accountable. So community is very important. The other way, another solution to help you with your savings, automation. You know what we do? We wait to receive our paycheck, and that is when we decide, how much do I want to deduct from this paycheck towards saving? Most of the time, if you wait for your paycheck and then you try to force yourself to save, you're going to fail. So automation is the key to helping you get there. So what do I mean? Set up a standing order. Yes, if you are a 9-to-5er who receives a paycheck at the end of the month, why do you want to sit there and wait for divine intervention and wait for motivation to hit you when your paycheck gets into your when your paycheck lands in your bank? Yet you know that there are very shiny objects all over surrounding us. You know, a new pair of shoes that you saw, you know, at group trip that you were randomly added, you know, like a new phone that you want to upgrade everything in your house as soon as your paycheck lands. And so you want to tell me that you want to fight against all those shiny objects surrounding you. You want to fight against all those shiny objects to motivate yourself to get there. It's not going to work. Automate. So yes, well, tribers who succeeded with the 1 million emergency fund last year, and even my coaching clients who eventually get there when it comes to building their 1-year emergency fund, or even building a diversified investment portfolio, they automate the process. Stop waiting for willpower. Stop praying for willpower. Stop praying for motivation. Stop it. Just automate if you can. If you are the kind of person who receives money in your account at a specific date, you know what I'm referring to, set up a standing order, set up a direct debit. I can even give you an example. I have a coaching client of mine who has the busiest job in the world. I swear to God, I have never met someone who is as busy as this lady. And she's also a mother, right? Yani, even getting her to show up for a coaching session is usually a war, right? She can cancel last minute because her job is extremely busy. She jumps on planes left, right, and center. She's always traveling. She's always in meetings. And so I realized this is not going to work. She cannot sit down and wait to send money to her money market fund. Yeah, so for that coaching client, we set up a standing order. And so because she is very busy, what happens is that immediately her money lands in her account, automatically 83,000 is deducted from her salary and goes directly to her money market fund account. And therefore, within a year, she was able to hit her 1 million emergency fund goal. Now, I've just remembered something else, and it's something I read from James Clear's Atomic Habits, and I also read it in 2020 from this book. This is one of my favorite personal finance books. It's called Nudge, and it's a personal finance book. It doesn't look like it, but it is, and I highly recommend it. And there is a part in this book where the author says self-control issues are most likely to arise when choices and their consequences are separated in time. And that is usually one of the problems when it comes to us and our savings, in that we are receiving our paychecks, we are receiving money, and then we are spending the money immediately. You know, for sherehe, to upgrade our house, to upgrade our gadgets, you know, we are making the choice to be happy today with our income. And it's okay, obviously, because I always say that life is for the living. So a part of your paycheck should obviously be for you to have fun, you know, for you to enjoy your money. But the problem is, in order for you to end up in the situation this client is in, where they do not have savings to show for their years of work, in that it's most likely there is obviously the fact that she's a mom, so obviously she has very many financial responsibilities. But because I've talked to her, for sure she knows that she has money. She should be able to cater for both her responsibilities and also at the same time have money towards her savings. Now, I was saying that we receive money and then we use it to, you know, to make ourselves happy, for enjoyment. And those are the choices that we make. But then the consequences of those prolonged decisions, of that prolonged indiscipline, because this client did mention that this triber did mention that she is struggling with indiscipline. So the consequences of your indiscipline are separated in time, that you're going to enjoy this month, you're going to enjoy this week, you're going to enjoy this year, you're going to enjoy 3 years from now, 5 years from now, and you still have a job. But then one day you're going to wake up 6 years later, and then the consequences of your decisions are going to dawn on you, where you now start saying, which is another thing I always have clients tell me, I have had this career, I have had this well-paying job, I have been in this company for 10 years, but I have nothing to show for it. So they have no savings, they have no assets, they have no investments. So that's the problem. The choices and the consequences are separated in time. So that's why we struggle. And so that is why I have provided these solutions. So question is, are you going to do it? Are you going to get an accountability partner? Are you going to automate your savings and investments? Are you going to join the community? Are you going to join the Wealth Tribe by joining the 1 million emergency fund challenge? Are you going to do anything about it? Because right now it's end month and you know, you have money if you are you have a 9 to 5 job, even when those of us who have businesses, sometimes our invoices are honored at the end of the month. Are you going to do anything about it? So the ball is in your court. If you want to join the 1 million emergency fund challenge, just DM me your email and I'm going to send you the instructions for how to join. And so yeah, the last sentence from this client is where she says, it is a danger situation for me since I have kids. So of course, I always tell parents, beyond having an emergency fund, beyond having a diversified investment portfolio, if you're a parent, buy a whole life insurance cover to protect your children. A whole life insurance cover is the best of the best test gifts you'll ever buy your children, because it protects them in case you pass on prematurely. So ask yourself, if you passed on prematurely, what would happen to your children? What would happen to your children? They need to go to school, they need to eat, they need clothing. Their life needs to continue, at least uninterrupted financially. So that is why we buy a whole life insurance cover. So if you passed on prematurely and you have beneficiaries, a whole life insurance policy pays your beneficiaries a lump sum amount of money so that their life can continue uninterrupted. And if you live long, right, because that is what we all want. If you survive and live long and you're able to bring up your kids up to the time they're adults, then a whole life insurance cover becomes a liquid inheritance to your children. I always ask people in their 20s and their 30s, if your parent today gave you 25 million as a liquid inheritance, what would the 25 million do for you? And of course, I know it would do a lot. It would help you get out of debt. It would help you fund your emergency fund. It would help you build your pension fund. It would help you build a diversified investment portfolio. It will help you travel. It would, most importantly, get rid of a lot of financial stress, a lot of jaw clenching, a lot of stiff shoulders, a lot of worry, a lot of hustle culture. It would remove survival from your bones, right? It would remove that cold that comes from you have no backup plan. You have no other options. You've got to wake up every morning and hustle. That is what it would do for you. So for me, if my parent left me that kind of money, my goodness. So that is what I mean when I say it is the best gift. It is the gift that has the highest return on investment that you'll ever get your children. So for this parent, the fact that she mentioned that she has kids, I told her she needs to buy a whole life insurance cover, and you should too. And finally, a whole life insurance cover is also a way of buying yourself protection against critical illness and accidental death. So if you ever get diagnosed with kidney failure, cancer, you're in a coma, you need an organ transplant, you need money. You need money to manage that situation. So a whole life insurance cover can get you that. It can also help you in case you ever got into an accident and ended up with a disability. You'll be paid millions in order for you to manage that situation. So that's why it's one of the best, as I said, it's the best financial decision I made at the beginning of this year. So I have plugged you. It's like I've given you a to-do list of what you need to do in order to improve your finances this end month. So my DMs are always open in case you need any of those things that I have mentioned. DM me. And with that, I hope that May is the month that will give you your desires.